As you may have heard in the news this afternoon, Kathy Dunderdale says her meeting with the Prime Minister will help finalize the Muskrat Falls loan guarantee. And the Premier says the loan guarantee must be finalized soon so that Manitoba Hydro can finalize its work on the final Muskrat Falls cost projection. Those numbers will form the basis of the Muskrat Falls debate to be held this fall in the House of Assembly. The Premier also confirmed today that the debate will not include the right to call witnesses or to seek expert testimony. And that has a group formed to oppose Muskrat Falls, saying that the Dunderdale government is breaking the law. That's the 2041 group. It says the government-funded reports cannot form the basis of a proper debate on the largest public expenditure in the province's history. The Premier is using the Voisey's Bay debate as a template for the Muskrat Falls debate in the House, but Richard Cashin says there's no comparison between the two. The former was private money. The latter, the current debate, is about public money.
I find it absolutely reprehensible. It's oranges and apples. I mean, here we have we have our money. Voisey's Bay was someone else's money. It's our money, and it could be $10 billion. What's this going to do to the pension funds of the public service? Where are their pensions going when we have to pay off this state? When we have layoffs in the public service? The hospital unbuilt in Corner Brook, all because we're funneling this public money without proper scrutiny, ignoring, attacking the rule of law. I mean, doesn't that upset people? I know we don't have a long democratic tradition in this spot, but I mean, nowhere else does this happen. We saw what happened in Manitoba with the PUB, and the people they've called as experts, they get kicked out. They're rejected by the PUB. Our PUB wasn't allowed to work. So, I mean, I think this is frightening. This is indefensible, what they've done. No one can really defend not going to the PUB. No, what are we? Are we some sort of freakish place where the normal rule of law doesn't apply to us? But that's what we've become, and it's frightening. I haven't been this upset in years.
Now, Richard Cashin wasn't only upset about what the government's doing, he's upset with the CBC as well, and especially our provincial affairs reporter, David Cochrane.
We just spoke to the Premier, and the call to have witness testimony and expert testimony to go to the House of Assembly is not a new one. Dwight Ball wrote a letter to the Premier. He repeated the call last week. The Premier said no. He says it's not going to happen. Voisey's Bay set the template, and that's it. What's your reaction? I mean, you're making this call, I guess, just responding within 30 minutes of her rejecting it.
Yeah, what is your reaction? How do you feel as a citizen of a province to be told in a very impolite way to go you-know-where, that they're ignoring due process? Doesn't that frighten you a little bit, Mr. Cochrane? I find it frightening.
She wasn't impolite, I'll tell you that. I mean, we just asked her, she said no. She said, this is what's happened in the past. Voisey's Bay was done this way.
This is quite... Do you understand there's a difference between... I'm asking you the question now. Do you understand the difference between the two projects? Because I've noticed your coverage of this, and I have to say, in the 47 years that I've followed CBC, I have never seen it so one-sided as when you cover it. NTV gives me balanced coverage. The Telegram certainly gives me balanced coverage. And I've been around a long time. And there were times when I was on the government side, I said, the damn CBC. They were always critical. They were skeptical. They did investigating reporting. That seems to be gone out the window. You've become an apologist for the government.
And that's Richard Cashin and David Cochrane today at the 2041 news conference. What do you make about Mr. Cashin's concerns about Muskrat Falls and how it can't be compared to Voisey's Bay when it comes to the debate? And what do you make of his critique of David Cochrane's coverage of the story? You listen to the CBC. You hear David's stories on a daily basis. Do you think he's being one-sided? Do you think Mr. Cashin has a point?